Listen, everybody, you are watching the Philly Live Show, and we are here, and we are live from our studios in the Overbrook Farm section of Philadelphia, PA. We are joined by a whole host of guests tonight, but before we get to that, on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, and click on the bell notification to receive notifications when we put up a new video right here on the Philly Funk Radio YouTube channel. Also, you can send us a nice, generous donation by going to Cash App and looking up Philly Funk Radio. So, yes, you can do that, and you can buy us a cup of coffee. Do something. Buy us a hoagie, something. I don't know. Philly Funk Radio on Cash App. All right, let's get back to that. All right, so we are joined, as always, by our co-host, Mr. Van Stone, who, oddly enough, you're in the bottom. You're in the bottom of my screen, and everyone else is in the top. So, Van, do you want to introduce everyone else?
Of course. I'm opening up this show as we do. It doesn't matter to me where we're at the top of the bottom or middle. We're here. So, of course, welcome, everybody. I'm just so excited. And, I bring in the juice. I'm Van Stone, the face behind the voice. I've been saying that for so many years, I just cannot even remember how long. So, boy, that was my phrase going way back when I was at WPB 88.1 FM. And, you had to be professional and throw the voice in and, Van Stone, so forth and so on. But here we are with our own platform. We're Philly Live at phillyfunkradio.com. I can relax. I can chill. I can smile. I can laugh and cry if I want to, and we're just going to have a great time with this program tonight. We're also Philly Live when it comes to Cali Live. I got to throw that out there, California Live. We're actually live, California, and we've got Linwood, Skip, Hard Rock, Hamilton. There you go. I mean, these names, y'all got to stick with me with this stuff because I got to do all this announcements and get everything right for everybody feel kind of funny. So he's a former Philadelphia Eagle. He's the leader of his organization. He's from Philly. Soul City Mentoring Program. We are serving the kids here, teaching the kids about clothing and things like that, designer clothing. So Skip has come a long way from the Philadelphia Eagles to professional wrestling heavyweight champion to now a clothing designer. And we just love what he's doing. So you guys got to go online and look that up and you can order some of his clothing. With that in mind, of course, the rest of the team are here, starting backwards with Jerry Wilson, the one and only, the king of broadcasting when it comes to really what we really need to do. And I mean, this guy, he's in that beautiful studio there, looks so nice. And we're glad to have that. Okay, so bringing it back up. Next, Warren Bloom, who ran for mayor, former candidate for mayor. It's almost 1 year already. 1 year already is unbelievable. Just think, all of us would be in a whole different situation. We would be in Warren Bloom's office, chilling with him, doing a podcast. But it's Mayor Terrell Parker. But anyway, we're proud to be here with him. And now we've got Nathaniel Lee, of course, formerly of all kind of professional writing. I mean, this guy, I just give out what everybody's familiar with, which is the Philadelphia Tribune. That's one of the oldest newspapers, Black-owned in the country, I believe. But Nate could come back later when we get everybody start talking, and he could fill us in on that because he's like the closest guy, to fill up the Tribune. With that, finally, we have the new, Leather Flower. Boy, that's one word. She made sure that I get that right. And we had to go, so that all our audience and viewers understand the proper spelling, space or not, either way, hyphen. But it's the one and only Leather Flower, which is a real flower. She's new to the show. She's a part of the team now. She has her own new show. She's going to talk a little bit about that, dealing with Art Institute of Philadelphia. That's a brief show segment. She's also my really co-host when it comes to the new audio book where we have featuring Hills of the Last Cube by yours truly, the Arthur Van Stone. And at the bottom, it's Van Stone Books. So it's a list. So we're going to be working on that. We're going to go back to Nathaniel Lee. He's a book writer. Anyone who wants to really come with us and get your book out there, that's what we're really promoting. We'll put you on the list, okay? So I believe we got everybody here. Shout out to Whitney Hickson, the one and only, who's not here for the moment. She may come back in. She has a new show. We wanted to talk about the ladies tonight, so hopefully Whitney comes back in. Her show runs regularly now at the top of the hour every day, weekdays from 11, top of the hour, all the way around to early in the morning. That's the best way I put it. And also you can catch her on weekends on Sundays at 12. And what's going to happen, it will follow by Leather Flower. She's going to be a part of her show, put at the top of the hour. We're going to have whatever Nathaniel Lee does with us coming up. We're going to get him at the top of the hour. We got the Bloom Report. That's going to be at the top of the hour. So, guys, I'm really excited. So with that in mind, I'm going to throw it back to Jerry because I think, Jerry, you wanted to ask Leather Flower about her name. So let's start in with that, I think.
Yes. Yes, actually. I was actually very interested to learn where that name came from. It's very interesting.
Well, okay. I will start by I wanted to do poetry for a long time on stage. I used to write it. So I actually had some friends that had some events happening and it was around poetry. So one of them asked me if I wanted to do some poetry for him. And I said yes, but I didn't want to use my surname. I wanted to have a name that gave my life some personification outside of what I was familiar with. So I named myself Leather Flower, one, because through all of the, through my journey in life, I realized that I was more resilient than I thought. And I wanted to give some texture to it. So I thought of leather as being one of the most resilient textures in nature. So leather represents that, my resilience. And flower is homage to my oldest son, Hussein. He had a friend that he grew up with since kindergarten, and he was killed by 10th grade. And his grandmother used to always tell me, she said I was like a flower, and I used to wear a lot of flower headdresses. And she said to me, she said, you know what, since you always are wearing flowers, I'm gonna name you Flower. So I took that part of the name to homage something that meant something to me along my journey, which was raising my children. And she was one of the women that was there. So I pronounced myself in the world as Leather Flower.
Wow.
And this was about in 2000. I believe I did that. Yeah, it was in 2000 actually. Yeah, at the turn of the millennium, I started to do a little poetry. I think I started in 2000. I was always writing, but 2007 was when I actually had an official on stage. So thank you for asking.
Well, we were actually just joined by Miss Whitney, and she is with us. And we are.
What's up, Whitney? DJ Whitney.
Hi.
Hello.
How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm doing real good. Sorry, I had to jump off real quick because I had a phone call and I was like, oh no, I gotta go. So I'm back on now. How's everyone?
Everything's going fine. So we've been listening to your segments over the last week on Philly Funk Radio. I've been getting some great responses from that. So it's good that you came on tonight. For the people who haven't listened yet, what is your show about?
Well, hello? You hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yes, we can hear you loud.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm frozen for some reason. It's just basically I'm just asking for people opinions on certain items. Like this first segment was about marriage. So I had, getting married, and then the second one was like, do people force each other, like do like females or men force women or men to get married, and then the last one was interracial marriages, and just asking people opinions on that, like how I feel like over the past decade or so, a lot of Black women are dating outside their race more, where it wasn't like that before. It's always Black men dating out their race more, and I feel like it's doing a switch.
Wow.
So just to let you know, Whitney, while I see you are frozen on your end, you are not over here. So we can see your beautiful face very clearly,
Okay.
and you are moving.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Crystal clear. Everything's good.
Okay.
All right. Well, let me jump in before we go to the break. Oh, how much time do we have for a break, Jerry?
We got about 4 minutes.
Okay, good. So I want to throw this to both Warren and Nate, and I'm going to let you go up first, Warren, because you have something very explosive happen at the official event, which was this Thursday. Nathaniel Lee, of course, was the host, but the one and only Warren Bloom, the icon from the Bloom Report, he actually really shined. He did a special interview, and we ran that interview that was happened at the event. We ran it on PhillyFunkRadio.com, started today at the top of the hour. So that's going to be great. Tell us what your view is of what you got out of the show, the event, and also the interview.
First of all, let me say, let's give God a hand clap. How about that?
All right.
Ooh, we can hear you.
Amen.
So yes.
I think, first of all, it was such a privilege meeting up with old friends, new icons, being there at the art gallery for the first time. It was very exciting. I can see Philadelphia, and that used to be my old hangout spot. That was before the Lord had a real hold of me. Y'all not old enough to remember Mr. Silks.
Okay.
And the Opera Lounge.
Lord, I never missed a step.
So this is my old stomping grounds. The Copacaboo, the Copacaboo right there on 52nd Street, 52nd and Sansom,
Wow.
right above, was ran by Kenny Gamble at that time. We were teenagers. So, the Copacabana, which is really in New York. So they took it from a spinoff of that. So they had the upstairs, and it was just like, if I could do a movie, and when they do a movie of my life, I'm going to reenact how we were enjoying ourselves like we were Hollywood stars. And I seen some of the greatest stars in rock and roll. Any of you remember Deion Jackson? Love makes the world
Yeah.
go round.
Yeah.
And love, baby, makes the seesaws go up and down. Anyway, and it makes trees grow tall. And the most important thing of all, it makes the boys and girls say they feel so fine now. Feel so fine. Anyway, 52nd Street Strip, Kenny Gamble started out there.
Okay. So, Nate, what's your thoughts? You got any thoughts on that? Because Warren dropped out for a second. He probably, there you go. Warren, I'm going to let Nate jump in. Hey, what you got, Nate?
I don't understand. I don't have anything on what he just said, but I remember that strip. I remember 52nd Street used to be my stomping ground as well. I definitely remember Mr. Silks. And I'm not going to tell. I'm going to plead the fifth on that because just like Brother Warren said, those are the days before my deliverance. So we're not going to talk too much.
Okay.
about my life again, but that's
Hey, we always young ones.
Okay.
I'm still young.
Okay. So I want to throw it back to you, Jerry. Are we close to a break or what?
So we can just go ahead and take the break right now. Yes, we are at break
Yeah, 'cause
time,
it
so
sound like
we're
he
gonna.
wants you to take a break because he keep asking for the break.
So, yeah, so let me just go
What's
take
going on
a
with
break.
that?
All right, well, we'll be right back
We got bills to pay.
after this much sought after break. We'll be back.
I know I can be a little dramatic.
Oh my God! I can get a little mad sometimes.
The fact is, we're teenagers.
Look at those grants.
He's just a friend, Vince.
You in a month.
No, get it.
Sorry, this is over.
This breakup, it was terrible for me.
What? I didn't know how to fit in.
I even thought
It might be easier if I just ended.
Even though I'm young, I know what suicide is.
And most suicide is done with firearms. And mostly, they're from inside our own homes.
but you locked your firearms.
You locked your firearms.
Seems like such a small thing, but it could save a life.
You saved my life.
My life.
My life.
You saved my life.
All right, and we are back after that important message about basically the message, if you watch it, is about make sure you store, if you have a firearm, make sure you store it safely, because all kind of things can happen. We see it all the time where you hear about kids getting hold of their parents' firearms and injuring or even killing themselves and so forth. So it's important. If you have it, lock it up. Anyway, we are back right here on the Philly Live Show with our expert panel, including my co-host that we're going to go back to, Van Stone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Of course, I'm Van Stone, the face behind the voice. Just in case you're joining the show, for our viewers and listeners, this is a special end of the year holiday show. Just wanted to throw that out there. Shout out to all those who are just in the spirit of celebration. Okay, so that's what it's about. And we need those times. I'm here with the rest of my team, the co-hosts, of course, the one and only Jerry Wilson. He's here with us. We have DJ Whitney Hickson is here. We have Nathaniel Lee. He's here. We have the one and only Warren Bloom. He's here from the Bloom Report. And of course, not last, but we have specially brand new. We have Leather Flower, who's from the Art Institute of Philadelphia alumni. And that's a great program that we're going to be paying attention to, because there's a lot happening here in Philadelphia, guys, and our listeners are viewing. We are really serving out Black Philadelphians, Black Americans. I say that all the time, you know, and I'm proud of saying that, proud to be Black. And we're trying to bring that back in. Back in the day, that was a James Brown thing. I'm Black and I'm proud, you know what I'm saying? And everybody just jumped on it. So with that in mind, I'm going to throw the topic over to Nate at this point. Unless, Jerry, did you have something you wanted to bring up, Jerry?
Well, yes, I had a specific topic. I don't know if anyone's seen this today, but President Biden actually went and commuted the sentences of all but 3 federal inmates that were on death row. He commuted the sentences from death to life without parole. The only exception was, of course, the Boston bomber, the Zarko Tsarnaev, Dylan Roof, the guy that shot up the Black church, and Robert Bowers, the one that shot up a synagogue. I wanted to get everybody's opinion about that because, you know, Biden's leaving office. And like I said, he commuted 37 out of 40, which is all federal death row inmates. I'm going to start with Nate.
Yes, sir.
What's your opinion? What do you think about
Any
it?
thoughts? Any thoughts? That's all.
Absolutely not. It's the thing to do this time of year. To me, you know, I wasn't always Nathaniel Front Page Lee. There was one time I ran the streets and I did time. So, and I've had occasion to have been on death row. So, and I've seen people in prison serving life. So to me, I think it's a thing to do at this time of year. You know, I'm sure they're glad, but life in prison is no walk in the park either. So it's one thing to be off, to have your head off of the chopping block, but you know, it's to me, death by incarceration is still death. It's just a slower death. So I'd like to see a time when we no longer need places like that. Now, I know we're not in that time. I know there's times where there are certain people that cannot walk among us and not safely anyway, and we'd be safe at the same time. But I'm hoping we get to a world where we don't even need those prisons, and we don't need sentences such as death sentences versus life in incarceration, but a time when we can live in harmony. I don't think I'll ever see that, but I'm glad the people who were commuted got commuted. But again, it's still death by incarceration.
Wow. Warren, any thoughts?
Warren's mic is off again.
Okay, so we'll when that jumps back in, we'll go to Leather Flower. You have any thoughts on that?
I appreciate it, but no, I don't have any thoughts at all.
Oh, okay, Whitney, any thoughts on that?
I just feel like it doesn't make a difference. You know, whether they get killed or whether they're doing life in jail. Is like you said, Nate, that's a death sentence regardless. You're just gonna spend the rest of your life till you die in jail. You know, you're not gonna get killed, you know, but it doesn't make a difference to me. I would rather see him pardon some people that may have been innocent and have their cases looked at. And, you know, like a lot of people are wrongly accused for things instead of trying to save people from life. Getting death penalty. Because to me, if they kill, it's killed, you know, they need to get what they deserve. I'll be honest. Even though we don't do that, but they need to get what they deserve. But you should be looking and focusing on other people, like innocent people going to jail, or even the people that have weed cases that are doing 30 years in jail for a weed case or a crack case. You know, that's what they really need to be focused on, because when this heroin epidemic came out, it's okay, these are their sickness. But when the people were smoking crack, it wasn't a sickness, it was locked them up. So it just, you know, I'm not, you know, that's just my opinion.
Wow. Nick, Warren, is your mic on now, Warren? Your microphone, Warren. You got your microphone. Okay, no problem. All right. We got you. Warren's having technical difficulties. So you know, everybody has really went over that point. My bottom line is, I think it's a bounce off of the debate about Biden pardoning his son. We already really talked about that. And I had already said, hey, all the Black Americans, male and female, who had the same federal case that his son had, let them all out. That's what I said. And so we didn't even, you know, go any further with that. So we're going to move past that. I think, Warren, your mic is on finally now, Warren? Okay, then Jerry, we'll throw it back to you. You got another point that you wanted to bring up before we go into something else?
Well, my only point was about the commutation. Like Whitney said, I would have liked those commuter sentences to focus more on poverty-stricken inner city areas and people that may have not necessarily gotten a chance. That's what I would have liked to see instead of paroling the federal inmates. That's just my opinion.
Okay, well, I know we're still probably getting close to the end, but here's a big one. Since we're all here in Philadelphia today, well, no, that's wrong. I'm sorry. I'm already used to Leather Flower being Philly because she is a Philly girl, New Jersey girl. But you're close by, Leather Flower, so you're aware of what the big news is. And I want to get everybody else's take on the stadium in Chinatown. So that was already approved and passed. It will be done. And, you know, I just want to know what you guys' thoughts are about that. I'm going to go start with you, Nate. What do you think? Any thoughts?
You know, I'm not surprised that the decision was made. I think the decision was made long before they even went to the public and put on this farce of community hearings and getting input and all of this. That decision was already made, in my opinion, long before they went to the community. I think that there's been various surveys and polls that showed the majority of people were opposed to it. Here is what I differ from a lot of people. Chinatown, the people in Chinatown and the areas, the 5 or 10 miles of that the area will affect, I personally think that they should have had the primary say. If this is in your area where you live, just like any other zoning issue, If you're the one who's going to be directly impacted, your home, your business, then the people in that area get the primary say. They get the priority. The rest of us who live way outside that area, we're not going to be so impacted. So our decision, our opinions, and all of that, they should be just that. It should be a thing for the people in that neighborhood. I would never, ever choose the profit over the people in the district that I live in. I think it's just another example of how we've been sold out by our council, how we're being mistreated by our municipal leaders, so-called leaders, in a capitalist society. To me, yes, you can bring a lot of money. Yes, you can bring a lot of business there. But if the people say no, then damn it, the answer is no. It's not, let's see what the city say about it. Because the rest of the city live 20, 30, 40 miles away. I'm talking about less, but you don't get a say. If you live in that area, you get to say, you get to vote, shut it down after that. So I think they chose profits over people, as they tend to do. I think there's too much money in politics. I think our leadership, our so-called leadership, because they aren't my leaders, I think a lot of times there's a lot of pay to play and there's a lot of backdoor deals. And I'm actually disgusted by it, but I'm by no way surprised. And It's not that I'm against the stadium. It's just that I believe that the people who lived in that district should have made the decision. I don't care whether there's a stadium or not. I'm not going either way. But if the people said yes, I'm for it. If the people said no, I'm not. The people seem to have said no, and the council said yes, and the mayor said yes, and that disgusts me.
Okay, DJ Whitney, you have something. You shaking your head. What's going on?
Yeah, because I don't understand, why would you want a big stadium? You already got the convention center in the middle of down Center City. Why would you want a big stadium in that area? You know how much traffic that is going to just make it worse. So I disagree. Keep the stadiums like they are down South Philly. All that open space near the naval base. Why would you want to put it right there? That's just going to be causing more homelessness in that area. You know, and the Chinese people, respectfully, they've been there for years. They don't want all that. They barely want the traffic they get now. But just to have that big stadium in the middle of their area, I don't agree with it.
Okay.
I totally don't agree with it.
Love Flower, what you got? Any thoughts on that?
I do. Thank you for asking. I would say that, unfortunately, at this time, that part of the city is going through something that many parts of the city have gone through in previous years, decades, and generations. Unfortunately, you know, it's like that. But at the end of the day, after all the dust has settled, for this New Jersey girl to witness Philadelphia from the other side of the bridge, progress is everything. I just say welcome 76th place. That's what I said.
Okay, Jerry, I know you haven't had anything. What you got? Or are we running low on time?
Well, no, I just think that the money, all this money being thrown around and all that, it probably could have been better spent. And before we give this team a new stadium, can they win first? I mean, I'm just saying, we're dumping, what is it, like $600 million in the team, and then you know the star players hurt like every 2 days and stuff like that. Like, I mean, can they? I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Okay, I don't know. Warren, your mic back on? Nope. Mike, Warren, your mic's not on. Sorry. So I'm going to throw mine in, and then we'll throw it back to Jerry. I guess will be a wrap up. So here's my point. I asked that question. I'm going to give it to you guys from the historian view. History is my favorite subject. I'm on this program for two reasons. One, to share the history education that our visitors, viewers don't know, but also as a professional when it comes to politics, you know, political analysts. So I've gotten several people elected and, you know, some judges and things like that. So when you put that combination together, basically, Philly is a state city. That means that we're big enough to be a state. They just haven't made the steps to make us a state. And with that in mind, so there's a 30-year plan to really just take over Philly, and that was all a part of it. So I just wanted to throw that historic part out there. As far as history when it comes to the Chinese people, we don't have a black town again, you know, so I don't feel sorry for them at all. and it's not about race. It's just racial facts, white, black. We were here, we're the originators. That's all our territory. We're Delaware Indians, all of us, regardless. And I don't know how in the world they get a town, So when you go back and do research on Philly, you will be surprised at the facts and how that came out, where they got a town. So if you look at it that way, hey, I'm glad we got a black woman mayor, the first black woman mayor who was bold enough to take that stand. So, hey, if we don't have anything, it is what it is. But then the benefits will come financially, and that's just the factual part. No other information I have. Someone throw it back to you, Jerry. Anything before we go?
No, we're actually about to wrap up. As usual, we get everybody's final thoughts. Who do you want to start with the final thoughts?
I'm going to start with Leather Flower, the newest one, because Warren's mic is off anyway. You got 30 seconds, Leather Flower. What you got? 30 seconds.
I am pleased and thank you for welcoming me in this small community to benefit the communities out yonder. And I'm going to do my best to advocate for the things that I believe that are important to our community, such as education, art, history, knowledge of self, all of those good things that create a wonderful life. And that's what I'm doing.
Okay, Nate, you're up next. 30 seconds or less. What you got?
I just wanted to say, and if you don't mind, I just want to segue back on the issue of the Chinatown. They didn't name themselves Chinatown. Other people named them to as Chinatown, and it was sort of done in a derogatory way. And there is an Africa Town in Southwest Philadelphia. And I think regardless of the race of a people, being from an oppressed people, that we should be very sensitive to the oppression of other people. And that's what I think. I think one of the things about us, especially during this holiday season, I want us to begin to realize the interconnection of not only all races, but all species and nature itself, because the you, them, us thing, it's not going to work. As you can see, everything is dissolving. So I think we need to really find a way to start looking at some common ground, the things that we have in common. Because if not, after they're done with them, they're coming for us. And as far as for the whatever profits it brings, take usurping people's rights and properties and the profits that they make from it, I don't want it. Philly, you can keep it. I don't want it. So.
All right. Who did I miss? DJ Whitney, you're up. 30 seconds, right?
Okay. I'm just glad that I met you, Miss Leatherflower and Mr. Nate. Welcome aboard. I hope we continue doing this in the new year. Miss Leatherflower, I'm here if you need anything, because I know you're an advocate, and we do have a lot of young adults at my shelter. So, trying to get them to do things, positive things. It would be nice to have someone like you to come along. And other than that, Happy New Year and Happy Holidays to everybody.
All right, so I guess that's me, the Van Stone.
Listen to my podcast.
Okay, so I got 30 seconds, guys. The Van Stone Production Foundation. We have new boots on the ground. Very proud. We are officially in parts of New Jersey. We'll get back to that part where we have Love the Flower. We're also here taking over the University City area. We've got both languages, English and Spanish. We are really growing. We have some new things coming up with the video process of Heroes of the Last Q. We've got the other new shows coming in. We're going to be working closely, hopefully, with the Scoop USA that's been around for a long time. Look forward to that. We may be even branching out further in the Northeast area as far as hard copy newspaper distribution. So I'm just so glad to our Black Philadelphians that, you guys hang in there. It's a rough time, good season for us to come together. And hopefully we will see you guys next week. All right, Jerry, you're it.
All right. So I would just actually like to thank everyone for joining the show. So, I'm glad we got Nate on board. Glad we got Miss Whitney, Leatherflower. We got the best team. right now. So I'd like to thank all of you guys, and I wish all of you guys have a safe and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Also, as far as this show, we'll be doing a show. We'll be doing shows, maybe one or two. I'll be going to Austin, Texas on January the 9th for the AFL-CIO conference for the labor union that I work with. And we'll probably do a couple of shows. Well, I'll be down there, and we'll still try to do shows. So, like I said, just thank everybody.
All right.
And everybody enjoy your holiday and your time with your family.
All right. Good night.
All right, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us, and
Bye-bye.
have a wonderful night.
Good night.